Hey there, you're listening to the Pursue Your Spark podcast. My name is Heike Yates, and on this show we talk about how to unlock your potential in your fitness lifestyle with tips, strategies, and interviews to help you create the life you love. Welcome to another episode of the Pursue Your Spark podcast. I'm your host, Heike Yates, and today's episode, number 29, is part of the Women on the Move segment on my podcast. This is where I share stories of strong women that changed their lives by overcoming obstacles, tackling challenges, and sometimes completely transformed their lives. I am so blessed to have these women sharing their passion and determination with us. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask you for a favor, and I usually don't ask for favors. I would love for you to share your most favorite podcast episode with your friends. I heard another podcaster ask her audience to help her out and spread the word, so I thought, what a great idea. So please share your favorite episode with your friends and help the Pursue Your Spark community to grow and get even stronger. So let's dive into today's episode, number 29, and I have the pleasure to introduce my friend Davida Freeman, we call her V, to the show. She's the creator of VidaDIY and the CondoPlantMama. I am not a DIY person for sure, but after seeing how V decorates her spaces with such love and unique designs, plus, oh my God, her balcony is a total jungle, and that in the Washington, D.C. area, it's amazing. And that's the reason I wanted her to come on the show, to show her passion and share her projects with you, to inspire you to perhaps start your own projects, including plant growing. Today's episode also has a video which you will find on YouTube, and all the links are in the show notes, so you can actually see what she's created. We're doing our best to describe what we are talking about in the show, so get ready. Let's dive into today's podcast, Women on the Move, VidaDIY and the CondoPlantMama. Welcome, everybody, and hi to Davida Freeman on the Pursue Your Spark podcast. She is the creator and originator of VidaDIY and the CondoPlantMama. It's like a mama, there she is. And she turned her passion into business. And I want to say, too, we're doing a video with the audio today. So for those of you who really want to see some of her crafts and her magical work that she does, we'll put the link in the show notes so you can see what she actually has created, because she just held up one of her products, but you can't see that on a podcast. So she is the lover and creative maker of all things DIY, crafty, crazy, and cool. So welcome to the show, V, as we all call her, and tell us about yourself.
Hey, everybody. Well, I'm V. It's short for Davida. And I started a venture called VidaDIY a number of years ago. I started actually in 2010 with a project that I did for my mother for her 60th birthday party. So I had lots of fun putting together custom invitations and thank you cards and tent cards and all sorts of favors. So I didn't really get very serious into it until maybe about 2 or 3 years ago when I started doing projects in the condo. That's where I'm doing the podcast and video cast from now. So we started doing some work in the condo. We redid the bathroom and the kitchen, and we did some, just some small projects. And I was just inspired to bring some of my creative flair to the space. So
and some of those things I see on Instagram, and that's why I'm always excited to see your posts, to see what she created next. But in your real life, what do you do in your real life when you're not crafting?
Oh, I go crazy trying to support technology in different school sites. So I work for a company that does consulting work for a number of clients in the DMV area. And my specialty has been supporting and providing technology services for private independent schools in the area. So I support upwards of about 8 different schools, and I rotate through different sites. So you'll find a lot of my VidaDIY touches at every site that I go to as well.
Yeah, I've seen some of those magical decorations or transformations of spaces, again, on Instagram. And I encourage everybody, we'll put the link in the show notes at the end so you can find out where you can find V. But it's just amazing what you do with those spaces and turn them into something a lot more fun and diverse and magical.
Absolutely. And that's one of the key reasons I do it, because it's a tech space. I want people to see that you can do amazing things with any space that you're living out of or working from. And one of the reasons why I do it is that it's something that it makes me smile, it makes me happy. And when it comes to a technology support office, it can be a very kind of clinical, technical, and stressful place for many people, because when they enter that space, they have some kind of a technology issue or problem. Mm-hmm. So one of the key reasons why I like to transform spaces with my VidaDIY projects is so that it kind of takes people off guard in a good way. Yeah. And they look at the space and they're just so utterly charmed by it, and it makes them smile. And that's one of the key reasons why I do it.
Now, we also have not met through your crafty side of life, because I am definitely not a crafty decorative person. And I'm this super minimalist with like bare walls are just my happy place. But we met.
What you have on your walls? That's really nice. Thank you. I love that.
That's me, yes, doing a cycling. No, but we met through running, and you shared with me that your medals are not on a hanger designed by you. She said, guys, she told me that she has race medals, and she's like, oh, they're somewhere. And I was like, oh my God.
I don't know.
So you are a runner.
I was for a number of years. I did a lot of races too. I did about 15 full marathons. 2 of those were Boston's.
Yay!
Yay! Oh man, best time in the world. If you're going to run a marathon and be on your feet for 26.2 miles, Boston is the place to do it. Yep. I've lost count of the half marathons, a lot of shorter distance races, but yeah, I was so privileged and happy that I was able to get to know you through our training days, or my training days, and we're able to train together. I think it was 2011, 2012 that we were a part of a marathon training group in the winter, and like
the best time.
I was training for London, and we were in the same pace group. So it was great to get to know you then, because you were so much fun to just pace with. I mean, you just kept everybody laughing and happy and smiling. So that was a great time.
So that's my role as a coach, is not only do I give sound training, but I want people to have fun. What good is if you do something and you're dreading it? It's hard enough to be out in the winter and running.
Yeah. And actually, I haven't been running in a while, and I decided to start up with the activity again. I'm going to start on Tuesday. So cool. I put together a small group of people that I actually work with at one of my school sites. And we just talked about taking advantage of this beautiful track that they have on campus. And we're going to do some running and walking starting on Tuesdays. And it's going to be hot. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make it fun for everybody, because I'm going to be the group leader. So.
Oh, that's so much fun. Good job. Awesome. Motivating people to get their butt skis in gear, as I call it.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome.
I'm going to try, but I really do. It's my ulterior motive is to get people to do it with me. It's one of the things I miss the most about the running group was just having that camaraderie and that company. Yeah. And it's even though you can go out and get moving at any time, especially when it's an activity like walking or running, there's nothing like having a group to do it with you and to support you. So I look forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to hear the stories you're sharing when you're out there doing your thing. Love it. Now, you said we know the reason why you started your do-it-yourself venture, but you also have your mom involved with this.
Yes, I'm so fortunate to have her along with me on this journey. She's going to be coming down in a few weeks. In 3 weeks, she's coming down to help me with the DC State Fair. So I'm going to be working a booth there on September 23rd, and she's coming down. She's making a special trip to help me, but she's also agreed to help me do research and, to help keep up with my website and my social media accounts. She's retired and she has like all of this energy and vibrancy, and she's just so very eager to help in whatever way she can. So yeah, she helped me get prepared for today's interview. So yeah, it's been so great having her along with me on this journey.
Oh yeah, because you also opened an Etsy store, so your business is exploding. And you said that you opened an Etsy store, but you also do what you call friends friendly projects. I think that's how you called it, friendly projects. I don't know what that means. Do they get it for free?
Yes. Yes, so, I do a lot of projects for friends as well, because as I share the projects that I complete or projects in progress, people have reached out to me asking if I can help them with a project, whether it's a do-it-yourself or they would like to have something that has that handmade, handcrafted flair. So actually, right before the interview, I just got back from doing like a business transaction with a friend of mine. She was looking for something special for her wedding. So she asked me to do 3 projects for her. So,
okay, people, okay, ladies, hold on, because I want everybody to know how this happened. I am preparing for the interview, and the first picture I get on Instagram from V is like a jar. And then the second is something else. And the third is, look at the line. I'm in the checkout, wherever she was. And she's crafting along. And I'm like, girlfriend, we have an interview. And she's like, yeah, but I'm crafting something right now.
That's just part of my world. That's part of the whole VidaDIY experience. It's just basically oftentimes I just take off, and then if you're lucky, I'm standing in one spot, usually in the kitchen or at my project table, just engrossed in the project. But as people learn more about what I do, they've reached out to me asking me if I can do projects for them as well. So, that part of the venture is taking off as well, where one of the key things I love about it is that it's springing from people's minds, from their vision, from their ideas. It's not something that I'm selling to them. It's not something that I'm creating and then seeing if that's something that they'd like to have. It's just something that is just birthed in their minds, and then they're telling me, this is what I envision. Can you help me make it a reality? Can you bring it to fruition? So that's
give me an example of some of that, because that was my next question. How you get the ideas if you just like think it up at night and you wake up and you go, whoa, I'm creating, I don't know, mirrors or whatever it is. Give us an example of what that might be that somebody like today comes and says, I need.
Right. So for example, my friend Sonia, who I just saw, she wanted a guest book, and she couldn't find any guest books for her wedding that really suited her style, that spoke to her, that basically seemed like her type of a book that she'd have. So she reached out to me and asked me if I would make her one. And, just collaborating with her, she gave me the silhouette of the bride and groom. And it was a very personal type of image for her because she spent some time looking for the perfect silhouette for her cake topper. And once she found it, it was something that she had invested a lot of time and energy into finding the perfect one. So that kind of made it easy for me. I said, well, if you give me the image of the silhouette, then that's going to be the branding, if you will, for all the projects that I do for you. So she and the groom are very happy with what I put together for them because it's something that was very personal for them. It's something that that meant something special for them, because it was something that they have identified as suiting their style. So
yeah, because your projects vary greatly from more funky type things to a little bit more traditional, and you also work with a ton of different materials. So do you take over the kitchen to do all those projects?
You should see the kitchen now. It looks like two bombs hit it. It's a mess, but yes. I love working with lots of different materials because I like the texture. I like the textures. I like the multi-dimensional effects. It just kind of speaks to me. So my favorite materials to work with are wood and paper. So I like to, just take wood. I like the natural texture of wood, but I also like to give it that colorful pop. So
again, let me refer back, guys. You got to see the video because you can see what she's pointing at behind her. So you can't see it if you're not on the video, but on the podcast, describe what you're holding.
Okay, so this is actually a tent. It's like a tent display of an octopus that I created. And if you use magnets, so I like to use different types of materials and tools to kind of transform an item so that you can use it for many different things. So if you use a magnet, you can hang signs on it. So it's kind of like a desk accessory. But this is an example of how I love the natural look and texture of wood, but I like to enhance it by, just funkifying it, if you will.
So the octopus is carved, it looks like out of gold, and somehow added to glued or whatever, however you get this on there. On it. So the listener can visualize what it's like, and then you turn it around, and on the backside is another piece of metal, I would assume, right? And it has a saying on there.
Yes, enjoy the little things.
Enjoy the little things. So you can turn it around. It's very pretty.
Add different signs to it. So those are amongst my favorite projects, taking a single object and then coming up with several different uses for it. So part of the reason why I like doing that is that it just kind of challenges my own creativity to come up with different ways that you can use the same item. And since all of this is done in a condo space, we actually live and work out of a 1-bedroom condo. So it's also space saving as well. I'm one of the people who I just geek out over like tiny houses and, those types of, spaces and projects. And I'm always coming up with ways in which you could create really cool things that are also functional because it enhances a very small space. So
now we have the CondoPlantMama, and I was going to tell you guys, if you go on Instagram, you will see V's balcony. It is a jungle of green plants, and I have no green thumb, and she actually made a video showing me that even I could grow something in my not so green thumbs. So how does the CondoMama tie in with DIY?
Well, with CondoPlantMama, it's part of my way of sending out the message that you can have green living things in your space as well, and you can take care of them. It's a journey, it's a process, especially if you're not accustomed to having plants in your space or caring for plants, but it's a very worthwhile one. I find that along with do-it-yourself, having plants in your space and watching them thrive and grow, it's very empowering. And it's something that, it just kind of brings that wholesomeness into your space. So it's something that I wanted to encourage more of my friends and followers to really think about and to embrace the idea of, because a lot of times I get feedback from people when they see plants in my space that they could never care for plants, that they would only kill plants.
I'm raising my hand.
Yes, and I totally feel you. I feel where you're coming from, because I used to think that as well. And this is my way of showing people that I've gone through this journey. I've gone through this process of bringing plants into my space and learning what they need, learning how to best care for them, learning the whole process of letting go if a plant is not going to make it in your space. So I want to share that with people as I go through that journey. Now, I've decided to create an Instagram account for it. So with VidaDIY, I have a website and Etsy site. I've been sharing a lot of stuff on Facebook as well with VidaDIY. With CondoPlantMama, it's primarily an Instagram account that I've created, a separate account, so that I can showcase my love for plants and to share little tips along the way.
Yeah. So for somebody who wanted to start out their own DIY, what would you, and they have ideas, what would you say where should they start?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes, you can learn.
Are you on YouTube?
On YouTube. I have an account. I mean, I have 8 different Google accounts because of the school site support I have. But yes, I do have a YouTube channel. There's not much on there yet, but people are just so very generous with sharing what they know, especially when it comes to DIY on YouTube. I've learned a lot of cool things, like this shelf here. I built this. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You guys definitely have to see the video, because I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, holy cow.
Yes. I have floating shelves all over the place. I've built furniture. I've learned lots of different tips on how to, just do fancy invitations and cards and how to add those embellishments. A lot of what I've picked up on with my DIY, I've learned from YouTube. And then I would just start having just different ideas on how to put my own personal spin or touch on a particular project, and I would just go for it. I would say that that's one of the best things that you can do if you're interested in getting more into DIY. If you have an idea, if you have a vision for your space or for a solution, just try something out and then see how far you can take it. And if you run into pitfalls along the way, there are plenty of people out there with lots of information that will help you along the way.
Yeah. What are some of the obstacles that you came across that you had to overcome on your VidaDIY journey?
Oh, time is one of the biggest ones, because it is a time-consuming hobby and venture, if you will. One of the reasons why I make it work is because I enjoy it so much. It's just been a really important outlet for me. But there's a lot of time that goes into it. And finding the time can be a challenge. Also, staying organized, that's a big thing. I need to revisit your decluttering podcast to learn more about what I can do. But it's kind of hard when you are a creator and you create things with different elements and different materials, because you need to have those materials around you while you're creating. So keeping things organized and decluttered is a constant challenge for me. And basically coming up with ideas actually has become less and less of a challenge. At first, I would be stumped with, okay, I've done this project, what next? And wouldn't come up with a cool idea. And as people will see with my Instagram account, I rarely post the same thing twice. A lot of times when I post a project, it's something very different than what I've done before. But as time has gone on and as I've continued to do these projects under VidaDIY and CondoPlantMama, I find that the ideas are coming to me more and more, which also becomes a challenge. And other crafters and creators, they can definitely vouch for this. As you are working with different projects, an idea for another project starts popping into your mind, and then you're starting off with that project, and you're now juggling projects. You have all these different things that you're working on and things that you want to get to, and sometimes it's tough to complete something because you put it down, you pick up something else. So that's a constant challenge. So I would say that those three.
Yeah, these are good heads up for the creators. So I know you're married. So how does your husband feel about his new condo and his new balcony growing and greening?
I'm not married. We live together.
Sorry, Bruce.
No worries. He's been extremely, extremely supportive. There are zones in the condo where he has made it clear to me that he would like that to be sacred and VidaDIY craft free. I do what I can to honor that. A lot of times I push that envelope. He's listening, so
that's okay. Bruce, we love you.
But yeah, he's been extremely supportive. He knows how important this is to me. Like he was very supportive when I was out doing all this crazy running. He continues to be supportive of the pursuits that I choose to go after. So, he's been great.
That's awesome. I think we all couldn't wish for anything better than having a supportive partner in all of our ventures that goes both ways. So that's an important part in achieving the goals that we all set for ourselves, whether it's crafting, running, weight loss, changing something in your life, changing your life as it seems to be going from away from the IT a little bit more into your VidaDIY and the CondoPlantMama as a new business venture. At least that's how I see it. So where do you see the future of VidaDIY and the CondoPlantMama going from here?
Actually, as time has gone on, it's become more and more clear. The track that I'm on now, the direction I'm going, actually, I've gotten myself on this path by the encouragement of others. I envisioned myself doing something very different with this. I started a blog a few years ago called CondoCrafting.com, and I was primarily focused on sharing what I do with my projects through step-by-step tutorials. And that's something that I want to get back to. I want to continue to develop that content, and I'm thinking about maybe putting together some products, some ebooks that will allow me to share the details of how I do these projects with those that follow me and really like what I've been sharing. But now I see myself, just focusing more on the aspect of helping people to identify solutions that they would like to have in their lives and in their spaces that is more crafty and creative. I would like to, at some point, work with people directly to offer classes. So that's something that I'm going to pursue as well. And the more I venture down this path, the more I see a clear route for me to take in terms of where I want to take this in the future. I do see myself just investing a lot more time into developing this as an enterprise. So I'm really, really looking forward to, just all the opportunities and challenges that's going to come my way.
That sounds so exciting. I think you're right on it with when you started developing it and we're talking on Instagram and we're like going back and forth and I was like, oh my God, there's something to it. She's onto something. So how can people find you? How can people find you?
I wish I had my business card in front of me, but they can find me on
Instagram.
Yes. So my account name is Jazztique, and you'll have it on your YouTube links, but it's JAZZTIQUE. You can also find me at Instagram under VidaDIY Home. And CondoPlantMama is my third Instagram account.
Okay.
And people can find me on my website. It's condocrafting.com.
How about Etsy?
Etsy, yes. If you look for me, my Etsy shop is called Jazztique. So, and VidaDIY Home. Actually, it's not Jazztique, it's VidaDIY Home. So if you do a search for VidaDIY Home, then that's where you'll find me.
Okay, we're putting all these links in the show notes so you guys know exactly how to spell all this, because I probably usually am lost with all these things. But Vida mentioned earlier in the podcast that you can see her live when and where.
Oh, you can see me at the DC State Fair. We're going to be out there. I'm going to be partnering up with an organization called Network Teams. So we have a booth that we're working together, and it's going to be down at the Georgetown waterfront on Sunday, September 23rd.
Awesome. So that's all I had. It was so awesome that you shared all your knowledge, and I finally get to see all the crafts in your condo. And if you guys want to see them too, you got to go to the YouTube video. But I put all the links that we mentioned today in the show notes. So for you guys, much easier to reach and get in contact with V, and let us know if you purchase anything and post it on social media so we know that you love what she does. So thanks for being here today. It was so wonderful to have you on the Pursue Your Spark podcast, V.
Thank you, Heike. This was great. This was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. See you next time. Ciao.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
So what do you think? Are you inspired to start your own DIY projects or grow plants? As I said earlier, the links for reaching out to V are in the show notes. Easy to get to her on Instagram, on her website, Facebook, Etsy, Pinterest. Links are in the show notes. But the podcast did not air before the DC Fair, but please reach out to V with the links in the show notes if you have any questions, if you want to purchase something from her, and so on. We also have a special treat for you. Not every podcast goes smoothly. It takes sometimes a whole bunch of starts and stops and re-records, and God knows we had a lot of fun with this because I kept screwing up. I will post the video of the blooper from this episode on the Pursue Your Spark Facebook page to show you how podcasting can be quite challenging sometimes. So with that, until next time, I'd love to see you here again and have a great week. Ciao!